Hi, Internet. Welcome to the Troyan YouTube channel. It is Thin Lizzy Thursday. Now, I highly recommend that if you haven't checked out the latest episode of the Troyan Show, I interviewed a gentleman named Par Ulsen. So, trying to make sure I pronounce the Swedish as correct as a Yankee as myself can. Um, but he is actually someone who is directly involved with the Thin Lizzy camp. That latest box set that came out, he had a lot to do with that. So he's done, mixing and mastering and all kinds of cool stuff. So I highly recommend if you want to hear like some, insider scoop of Thin Lizzy from one of the guys who actually works directly with the band. Highly recommend checking out that latest episode of the Greg Troyan Show. Uh, Finally been noticed by the big boys on this channel. So today, hopefully, we have a great Thin Lizzy song to match with that amazing interview. So let's fire up the random song generator and see what we get this week. All right, so we got an interesting one today, folks. We are doing something off Grand Slam. So we are doing Gone Are the Days. So the reason why Grand Slam is in the random song generator, even though this is not done with Phil Lynott, um, I felt it was appropriate to, if we're doing Black Star Riders, I think it's appropriate to do the other Thin Lizzy sequel band, and that is Grand Slam. So even though no members of Thin Lizzy are in Grand Slam, there are a lot of songs that Phil wrote for Grand Slam that ended up on this album that eventually came out. And what I decided to do for the random song generator is the songs that were available as like a good enough demo, I would do the demo with Phil's vocal on it. But if there were songs that Grand Slam did that I couldn't really find a demo of Phil doing or was a Grand Slam original, those are in the song generator. So, like Gay Boys being a Grand Slam song, I did the Gay Boys demo rather than, well, I guess there isn't really an equivalent. But point being, not the entire Grand Slam album is in here, but this track is. So this came out, what, I think last year, the Grand Slam album. So this is Gone Are the Days, and I don't think this is actually a. I don't think that this song has anything to do with Phil in terms of writing, but actually, let me see. Grand Slam topic. Trying to find it here. What I do think is pretty cool is that I'm trying to find it, making this nice and difficult. Ah, the difficulties of doing this unscripted, but it's good to have both Thin Lizzy sequel bands in the random song generator, and then seeing which one better lives up to the legacy. Is it the one where they're continuing like the songs and leftovers that Phil had off, or is it the one that was the live lineup of Lizzy that then decided to continue making their own music? So the debate of like Black Star Riders versus Grand Slam, which one is better, continuing that legacy? Man, why can I not find this song? That is making this extra difficult. I found the music video. Let's see. Maybe if I look up the album, that should find it. Nope. All right. We're just, you know what? We're just going to do the best we can. So hopefully this doesn't get blocked because I'm pulling it off the music video. But we're going to be doing Gone Are the Days by Grand Slam. See if I can find the lyrics for it. That'll be exciting. You know what? This is taking too long. We're just going to get into it. Once it loads.
One, two, three. Thinking about the good old days, all that fun there was plenty. For loose and finance free, keep gasoline cage while the hearts are empty. Sun goes down on cool tarmac. Destiny road won't bring them back, no. Get it rounded with the leathers off your back. Hold on tight, wind the throttle back, go. If I could, I'd turn back time till it stood forever young. We can warrior songs on song. Play it.
So it's actually pretty similar to. Man, why am I blanking on that? I'm just having a rough time getting into the flow of this reaction today. My apologies. But it's reminding me of Bound for Glory of a Black Star Riders, in that it's sort of like the I don't believe this song is a Phil co-write. I believe this is an complete original of the new incarnation of Grand Slam, and so it has that Lizzy vibe with those harmony guitars, the held out power chords, that kind of driving drum beat. So it has a lot of those Lizzy elements, but lyrically not able to pull up the lyrics for it, which is unfortunate because I'd love to take the analysis of the lyrics, but definitely has the Phil line kind of vocal phrasing, and so it does feel like a modern continuation of Lizzy. And once again, for those who don't know, Grand Slam was the band that Phil formed after Lizzy with Lawrence Archer. Co-wrote a bunch of songs with him for it, and that was going to be like his next musical project. And then he did some touring for it, and then died before it really got off the ground. And this album that they did years later features a lot of those songs that Phil wrote for the band finally being released to the public officially in a new album without Phil on the album, with a new singer, newly recorded, and also new songs that they wrote to fill out the release. So what we're listening to here is one of those new songs to fill out the release that tries to live up to the legacy and style of Phil, but also being unique to the band members' individual identities. And it sounds like a Lizzy song, and wish I could find the lyrics for it. But that is, with these unscripted, I don't know what you're going to get reactions. You just have to sort of roll with it. So let's just get back to it.
Nothing in this life is free. Born to die, someone's baby. Bails out in a cloud of smoke. Only the young die good, it ain't no killing joke, no. Time won't give, it always takes. Just steals out expiry dates. Raise a glass and clean your slate. Do it now, don't hesitate, no. If I could, I'd turn back time to see their smiles.
So before we get into the solo, trying to touch a little bit on the lyrics. So it seems to be the general message of the song, based upon not being able to hear the lyrics as clearly, and also as evidence, this is necessarily highest in my rotation. I've listened to this song a few times. Um, Lyrically, it seems to be a song like reflecting on the past and understand that like you'll never really get uh the days back that you long for. So like you're reflecting on past friends, those memories of the golden days, and they're gone. But that's it seems to be the song has definitely a lot of like major keyisms. So it doesn't necessarily seem that it's that depressing that those days are gone. Like you can still look back on them fondly, and there's still a beauty to the present day. Um, is kind of what I'm getting as I'm listening to it today with my off the cuff reaction. So solid stuff, and we're about to get into a solo. So let's rewind it here and get back to it.
Thinking about the good old days, riding in the wind and rolling like a hurricane. Nothing's a certainty except life's a bitch and that's guaranteed. Street lights fade and the sirens wail. Not this time, no system fail. Slam on your brakes, don't let fate prevail. You never know who's on your tail.
Yeah, so I spotted a couple Lizzy references in the lyrics there, which is pretty cool. Like about the sirens wailing, and so definitely cool little Easter eggs there. Great solo. I think Lawrence Archer, in terms of the skill as a player, deserves to be in the conversation with the other Lizzy guitar players. I know it's not Lizzy; it's a different band, but it really does feel so closely connected that it he should be in the discussion. I think he's a great player. It sounds great, and yeah, let's get back to it.
If I could, I'd turn back time till it stood forever young. The weekend warrior songs unsung. Gone are the days, still young at heart, be strong and humble now. Gone are the days, the weekend warriors headed for the sundown. Gone are the days, still wild at heart, be strong and humble now. Gone are the days, the weekend warriors headed for the old sundown. Back in the saddle again. Ghost riders riding high, without a style down that murder mile. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That is "Gone Are the Days" by Grand Slam. So apologies for the slow start at the beginning because I couldn't find the lyrics for this piece online. The song wasn't loading; it wasn't easy to find online. Um, so that goes to show you like how I guess when you have the power of like a bigger label behind you, it's easier to find your stuff more readily through the streaming services, et cetera, et cetera. Um, putting my thoughts around this because there's in many ways Grand Slam is kind of like an underdog band. So if you're comparing them with Black Star Riders, where it's sort of the live lineup of Lizzy continuing and making music. Uh, and so, because they were Thin Lizzy proper, they have those additional connections to distribute music in a way that maybe Grand Slam doesn't. And so, you get that extra layer of grit and street and like rough and tumbleness from Grand Slam in the sense that they, they're the underdog. They don't have as much of support and infrastructure as, let's say, Black Star Riders does. And so when you're comparing the two and like how they're continuing that legacy and like who is, you're, I think there's sincerity in both projects, and I think there's a lot of heart in both projects. And so I think the comparisons and preferences between the two can be interesting. Do you prefer the Black Star Riders, which has, an actual member of Thin Lizzy in it, or do you prefer Grand Slam, which was Phil's final band and on the album features songs written by Phil? Which one is the better continuation of that legacy? I think that's a fascinating discussion to get into. And truthfully, it's a pretty tricky debate because I think that first Black Star Riders album is really excellent, and I think some of the songs on Grand Slam, some of the songs that are from the Phil demos, lose the charm that the original had. Like when Phil's personality is taken out of the equation, I think a lot of the songs lose something. But then some of them are really awesome, and so where does that leave things? Um, it leaves things very interesting for the discussion, but I'm very glad both bands exist. Both bands are doing what they're doing, and both bands are sort of keeping that poetic spirit in rock and roll. So I think that's very cool. The song itself, it is solid, but it's not. For me, it's not as much of a classic as some of the other stuff that we've reacted to. So it's very good. It has that Lizzy vibe, and it's very hard to compete with so many great songs. But I think this is a song to not be embarrassed of. It's a song to be proud of, and I think it's very cool. So now comes the tricky part of where this ends up in the ranking. So gone are the days. Well, here's the thing. Gone are the days. Whew. Yeah, so. Ah. Yeah, that is where I'm going to put it. So I'm putting it C rank. I think Another State of Grace is a slightly stronger song, even though this one has those great Lizzy vibes to it. I think it's as a song maybe could use a little bit of a higher tempo to it. Uh, it just seems like it could use a hair more energy. But I mean the sincerity is felt through it. And so it kind of actually hurts to put it down in C rank. But if I'm just looking at the songs above it, I just think they're better songs I'm more likely to listen to. And so that's where this ends up. So definitely interested to see what you guys think of this one in the comments down below. So, yeah, please let me know. And definitely check out that latest Greg Troyan Show interview if you haven't. Lots of great Lizzy talk. It's a really awesome episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.